What's your full name?
Oh, James Forsher.
No middle name?
Maurice. Well, I got my BA at University of California, Santa Cruz in 1975, and then I took a year off, went back to school, and got my master's in urban studies with a minor in film and television at University of Southern California, and proceeded to spend the next, almost 15 years producing television shows, and then in the mid-90s went back to USC and finished my doctorate, which was a kind of a combination of urban planning, the doctorate in urban planning, but my emphasis was information technologies and how it affects the kind of the urban culture. And 97, I got my first assistant professorship at Florida State. And in 2001, I got another assistant professorship at Cal State University East Bay, which is in the Bay Area of California. And then come September this year, I'm in Seattle University. I come with a little bit of an unusual background in the sense that I, studied, researched, written about urban studies issues, and that's kind of like a real love of mine. And I've also loved films, I love television, I love producing, I love directing, I love writing. And so that's kind of another area I'll be able to bring here and cultivate in those two different regions. They're all in the College of Arts Letters, and we're here, but it's different departments, and I hope to bring some departments working together in some different projects. To the students here, I hope to build up a really interesting digital journalism program. I mean, really integrate the camera, the audio, graphics into the different formats that digital media is used today. And that's kind of the main goal, especially this first year, is to really build that up and get it working right. In terms of what do I have to offer, well, what have I done? And if you look at the films I've done over the years, there's kind of a recurring theme. They're all nonfiction. I mean, I don't, as much as I'd love to have, along the way I've done one low-budget feature film. Never happened. I've always done documentaries. I've always done nonfiction. I've always looked at a story, real stories, true stories, found out what I considered the truth of it, and told that story. Sometimes it was as little as 3 minutes, sometimes it was a feature-length documentary. But that's been what I've done. That's what I enjoy doing. It's kind of in my blood. And so what I hope to bring here is the ability for all the students to tell stories using the media. That's it. And in terms of what the department and the faculty wanted, is they wanted somebody who was able to teach media production and teach someone how to work with the different media, whether it's a cable, whether it's going to be on, on Cairo or Como or King or the PBS station, or their own personal little podcast, vodcast. Things are changing drastically right now. So I'm really preparing people, whatever the means it's going to be shown. Bottom line is, it has to be made, and it has to be made where it's interesting and entertaining, and that's what I hope to bring. I've been in the field of communication since probably the early 70s. I did my very first television show in like 1974. That was aired, so I could consider that my first, experience. And in those days, videotape was 2 inches thick. People didn't really edit. I mean, there were no laptops, no computers. Everything was very expensive. The only people that really could do it were the stations. And a half-hour show was almost 30 pounds. Just to carry it was 30 pounds, one show. So I did a lot of my work in film. My very first documentaries were shot on film, edited on film. I had a moviola and a flatbed, and I started in that realm. And by the mid 80s was the first generation of what we call laptop videotape editors. And so I was able to have an editing system in my office and start to edit rough cuts, very rough. I mean, it was pretty funky. And then you went to a professional place, and they would edit it to make it look good at $300 to $400 an hour. So again, this is not a poor person's occupation. I mean, I really had to hustle to to any show, because any show, the minimum amount's $10,000 to make a half-hour show, and I don't get paid a penny. So it gives you some idea of how tough it was. By the 90s, things have started changing drastically with the personal computer, and when personal computers started to be used to actually edit video, that's really what changed everything in a major way. So that's since the mid-90s, television, cable, everything's been pushing over towards a digital medium. Not particularly happy because they put all this money buying this fancy analog equipment and suddenly they have to junk it. So it's been a 10-year transition. You know, I've never really figured that question out, and because I'm very much concerned about today and what I'm doing now, and you know, I mean, this is not about my ego. This is about I'm here to really share some of my background, some of my experience, and you know, lately I've been reading my daughter with her. She's 8 now. Harry Potter. We just finished Harry Potter 2, and there was a really awful professor named Gilderoy Lockhart, who was this really, you know, pompous. He thought he was like the best of everything, and you know, and I looked at that and I said, well, that's the professor you don't want to be. And he's someone that probably cared quite a bit about his legacy. And you know, legacy doesn't mean much to me. It's really about, you know, at the end of the year, I've succeeded, and a few students have kind of gotten a little glimpse of what they can do with themselves. That's my legacy.